Hello, welcome to This Week in Gear, the news show for product enthusiasts. I'm Nick Caruso, and I'm really glad you joined us this week because we are talking about big news. For the first time since 2012, Rolex has updated its iconic Submariner dive watch. Since 1953, the Submariner has been widely considered probably the best in its class, and it's certainly one of the most, if not the most, famous watch in the entire world. So this is a big deal. The first thing we're going to do is run you through all of the changes you can expect to see, and while you're watching that, I would really love for you to comment below if you're watching this on YouTube with any comments, questions, opinions. This is going to be very controversial for some watch enthusiasts. And then later in the show, we're going to be welcoming the creator and co-host of the 10 and 2 podcast, which is about watches, and it should be of no surprise, she is a massive watch enthusiast herself. So we're going to get Kat's thoughts on how the new Submariner may affect watch culture and its place in the consumer marketplace and much more. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Now, if you want any more information about the brand new Rolex Submariner, all the changes, all the news, everything you could ever want, check the description below for links to our online coverage. There's plenty down there, and there's plenty to read up on. And while you're at it, you can peruse gearpatrol.com for a lot more product news. Also, follow us on social media, and don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, so you never miss any more video news and reviews. And with that, let's get started. Rolex has officially revealed the latest iteration of the Submariner, an easy contender for the most famous watch of all time. Since its debut in 1953, the Submariner has become the timepiece that the entire sport watch category is built upon. And at first glance, the changes to the iconic diver are easily missed, but even the seemingly minor tweaks are sure to impact the Submariner's legacy for decades to come. These changes are sure to excite some and anger others, so in the comments below, please tell us what you think. In the meantime, here's everything you need to know about the new Rolex Submariner. A 41mm oyster steel case makes this version the biggest Submariner ever, though it's just 1mm larger than the previous generations of the watch. To compensate for the change, the lugs have been noticeably slimmed down from those of the previous 6-digit maxi-cased watches. The 8 references include 3 in stainless steel and 5 in precious metals, or Rollosor, which is what Rolex calls its two-tone watches. The no-date model comes with a black dial and a black bezel, while the date model comes in 7 variants, 2 steel and 5 precious metal. The new Oyster bracelet, which Rolex is labeling as remodeled, is also slightly broader and equipped with Rolex's patented Oyster Lock folding safety clasp and Glide Lock extension system, which allows wearers to adjust the length of the bracelet by up to 20mm without additional tools. The text at the bottom of the dial that previously read Swiss made now includes the Rolex coronet, or crown logo, as a separator, indicating the presence of the new movement. The text has also been slightly repositioned. And yes, there's a new movement inside. The caliber 3135, in use in no-date Submariners since the 1980s, has been updated with the caliber 3230. While new, this is the dateless version of the caliber 3235, which has slowly been making its way through the Rolex catalog for the last few years. Both date and no-date versions are chronometer certified and feature a Chronergy escapement with anti-magnetic properties, a parachrome hairspring that's 10 times more precise than a traditional hairspring, and a power reserve of 70 hours. A Cerachrome bezel on a Submariner isn't new, but this time it's available in several different colors. Cerachrome is Rolex's corrosion-resistant ceramic. It's largely scratch-proof and features a luminescent pip at 12 o'clock for visibility in low-light conditions. It's also highly grippable and easy to turn even with gloves on. And of course, it's graduated with a 60-minute scale for timing purposes. Hey Kat, can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Great. Well, it's good to see you on the old video chat here. We've got a lot of questions. We've got a lot to talk about.
We do.
But before we get into the new Rolex, can you give me a quick, just so everybody watching is up to date, can you give me a quick bio about yourself and what it is you do?
Yeah, so my name is Kat Shoulders. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I run a watch podcast where me and another friend of mine, who's also a female, we host a show every week, and we talk watches, photography, travel, all of the above, essentially. And we bring a different perspective to the watch community than we think that we usually hear out there.
Good, yeah, and that's the 10 and 2 podcast,
That's,
which will...
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, should have said the name of it. Yeah, it's 10 and 2.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
yourself.
for plugging in my show. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, of course. We'll even pop a link down below. I think it's definitely something that our viewers and readers will want to check out. It's been really fun to listen to a couple episodes myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, it's you learn a lot, and it's good to hear some, like you say, some opinions that are kind of fresh and fun and casual.
Yeah.
And speaking of fresh opinions
Yeah.
and fresh watches, we want to talk about the new Rolex reveal. So it's
get
been
into it.
years. Yeah, it's been years since we've had a new Submariner, and Rolex has revealed several changes. This is perhaps the most iconic watch, if not one, certainly one of the most. And there are some pretty distinct changes. I mean, it's obviously the same watch in so many ways, but it's also new in a lot of ways. It's bigger than ever. It's 41 millimeters versus 40, so the lugs are a little different, but it's a bigger overall diameter. There are a bunch of new references. The bracelet's new, the dial's new, but still we have a Submariner. So I want to hear what you think about all these sort of changes and what the newness in the Submariner.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a hater of the new Sub. I think that the changes they did were really well done. I think, in my opinion, this is Rolex saying, hey guys, we hear you. We know that you haven't loved the Maxi case, but we're not going to go smaller. So here's the changes we're going to make the watch fit a little bit better without going smaller. I think personally, like, a lot of people complained about the size just because of the dimensions, but as someone who's been in the community and has collected watches for a long time, you can't go off of size a lot of times, especially, I mean, if you own a Seiko, you know, sometimes that 45 millimeter diameter wears really small. So until people get this one on the wrist, I think they shouldn't be too quick to judge it.
Okay, that's good advice. Yeah, I've been, I actually mentioned to you earlier, I've sort of absconded to Michigan for the summer, and I took one watch with me, and it's my really big G-Shock. So like the case diameter is the thing that it doesn't make any sense to me anymore because I've been concentrating on one. So 41 millimeters doesn't sound that big, but it's a big change, but it sounds like it fits well. It looks like it fits well from what I've seen with the new Submariner.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of side-by-sides, and I think that the case is a little bit more refined in the new model, and I think that with the way that the lugs integrate with the bracelet, I think it's going to wear, if not the same, maybe a little bit better than the Maxi case did, for sure.
Okay. There's a hot take. The proportions seem to use like updated in a very sort of agreeable way, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the Submariner line in general, Rolex has only made these more modern implemented changes, and I don't think, as much as we want a vintage style watch, I personally don't think Rolex is going to go backwards right now, at least.
Right.
I think the bigger watch trend is slowly going away, but it's not totally gone yet.
Okay, well, that's certainly what Rolex is betting on. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are there any other details in the new reveal that caught your eye or that you've been thinking about especially?
Yeah, I love the Rolex crown in general, and now we see it twice on the dial. Below at Swiss Made, there's the crown as well, and even though it's so small and minuscule, I love it. So that's probably another thing that really stood out to me. Other than some of the smaller changes, the bracelet looks fantastic.
Right.
I wonder, what Rolex is really thinking with that, because it almost looks, the links are so close together that I wonder if they're trying to give off that like integrated bracelet look in a way. But yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot.
Sure. Yeah, there are. It's a really cool. It's very sleek and sort of, and almost like a. They're so close together. It almost gives that kind of like billet look, like it's carved out of one sort of piece of material.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are several different references. Obviously, we've got
There's a
there are
lot.
multicolors. There's single color. There's all black. Anything that you're particularly a fan of in there? What would you go for?
I'd probably go pretty simple. I'd probably go just the black with the date. I'm a person that likes to have a date on a watch, so that would be my choice. Normally, I'm a huge fan of green. I love the Hulk. Love the old Kermits. Not a new fan of the new Kermit. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. Or the Starbucks, as people are calling it these days, I guess. But yeah, the all black is what I'd go for.
Fair enough. It's a nice classic look. So those are your opinions. Obviously, this can be, like we've hinted at, this is a new version of an iconic watch. It's something that dates back to the 50s. People have been huge fans of this watch for a very long time, and it's meant a lot to watch culture in general. So what, in your esteemed opinion, how do you think this will affect watch culture? What will the reception be? How will consumers be looking at this? Collectors, everybody who's paying attention.
Yeah, I think a lot of watch collectors are upset right now, as I've seen through the forums and through just different watch channels and avenues. I think everyone expected them to go down in size. What we've seen with Tudor, with the Black Bay 58s, the going down to 39 millimeter. I think people wanted Rolex to follow suit. Rolex does Rolex at the end of the day. And again, I don't think we're ever going to see a vintage iteration of the sub. It's always going to be a very modern piece to whatever's modern at the time. If you want vintage, you have, hundreds of options with the Submariner. Now you have the Tudors that are the smaller sizes as well, more of that vintage option. But again, I think that is it going to be a collector piece? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that the older subs, the 40 millimeter and less, are going to be really, really popular now more than ever, because we know, hey, Rolex they're not going down right now. So if you want one, I think now is the time to jump on that train. And I also think that the Tudor Black Bay 58s are going to be super hot as well, even more so than they have been, just because people are going to want some of that smaller sizing cases.
Sure. It makes sense from a purely product standpoint to make something that's bigger, push people who want vintage things into actual vintage pieces, and folks who are a little more forward-looking will pick up a brand new modern version of the Submariner, perhaps.
Absolutely, and I could see Rolex maybe putting out maybe a vintage style Milgauss, kind of going back and looking at those and giving us those vintage vibes with a reiterated version of that at some point. Yeah. But with the sub, I just don't see it ever being a true kind of homage to the vintage pieces at all.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. There it is.
I could be totally wrong about this, by the way.
Well, this will live. This will be forever on the internet, so we'll be able to check back in several years and find out. You may also have heralded the future here, so people paying attention.
Never know.
Could make good investments. Well, very cool. Thanks for your opinions. Thanks for weighing in on that. Anything else you want to say about the Rolex I may not have asked you about? I want to make sure we get it all out.
No, I think we covered the basics of it. Again, I like it. I think that this is, Rolex at the end of the day saying, we see you. We see you. These are the changes we're willing to make, but they're going to do what they're going to do, and I'm going to embrace it. I really want to get it on the wrist. I'm hoping to get one on the wrist soon and try it out if possible. Knock on wood. That's going to be pretty hard, but I like the cases. I like the design. I think that these are smart choices that they made without fully losing kind of who they were and what the sub already was, and I'm going to embrace it totally.
Very cool. Well, that's I wish you the best in terms of getting one on your wrist. I hope that happens for you very soon. And I wouldn't mind either, in case anybody's listening. Well, very cool. I don't want to take more of your time, but I really appreciate what you've chatted with me about.
Well,
this is very insightful, very fun, and I guess we will all have to wait and see what the watch looks like in real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, Cat Shoulders, thank you. Everybody tune into the 10 and 2 podcast.
Thanks.
Download a few episodes, and I know I will be listening. So
Thank you so much,
hear from you
Nick.
soon, Kat. Yeah,
All
nice
right.
to see you.
You too.
And that is the show for today. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks especially to Kat for taking time to chat with us about the Submariner. It's some big news, and we're excited to share it. For now, take care, and we'll see you next time.